take down your cameras. All right, so we are recording, and welcome to day 2 of the RC. Again, thanks so much for being here. Maybe for some of you, this is more like day 4, if you've been part of the integration seminar, so we're well into it at this point. Go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable seated position. You're welcome to start practice up on a cushion for the beginning drop-in, or you can just be cross-legged on your mat, or even if it works better for you to start in a seated position in a chair or something, you're more than welcome. So the benefit of having home practice is that you can modify it to your needs. I do want to just make a quick statement that if you're new to yoga practice and something that we're doing doesn't feel like you get it, or you don't understand the posture, or it doesn't feel good in your body, please find a posture that feels more appropriate, maybe a child's pose or a mountain pose, Tadasana, something that feels better on your body. And the same holds true for experienced practitioners. If there's something that doesn't feel good in your body, please listen to your needs and how you can make this most beneficial for you. So as we sit here perched upon our cushion, cross-legged on our mat, you can start to drop into this present moment. Allow your awareness to come down into the body and find the belly. Long inhales and long exhales, bringing that full awareness deep down into the low belly. And we'll start by simply witnessing. We don't need to modify or shift the breath, but just to witness as we drop our attention down, see what naturally happens to the breath. As we rest here in stillness, maybe noticing that the body is asking for something slightly different. Maybe the shoulders need to drop a little bit, or even a softening through the belly. Allowing those little micro movements, micro adjustments to be fulfilling in your practice. So oftentimes we think that a posture needs to be rigid or held or strong. But sometimes the posture actually needs to be a little bit softer, bringing a little bit of that self-compassion into your practice this morning. And as our inhale deepens, our exhale deepens. Start to allow gratitude to come forward, gratitude for this moment, gratitude for this body. I know it can often be hard in times where there is tragedy or suffering for us to feel okay about having gratitude. But it's often in those moments where gratitude is the most effective way to continue moving through life and being of benefit to those around you, as well as to yourself. One of the gifts of being human is that even when all that we know and have is stripped away from us, as long as we are breathing on this earth, we have a very unique gift, and that is the gift of breath. So even in this moment, if only breath is what you can find to be grateful for, then that's more than enough. And as that gratitude begins to build from belly up through heart center, let it rise all the way up the spine and out the center of the head as we sit up nice and tall, gently letting the chest come forward, lifting that chest towards the sky, letting the gaze rise up just slightly. And on your next exhale, we'll bring the belly in towards the spine, coming into a gentle arc between the shoulder blades. Chin drops into chest. Letting that heart center rise up on the inhale. And settle back in towards the spine on the exhale, creating space in the back of the heart. And we'll do one more here with some gentle movement to get us going this morning. Flexion and extension of the spine. And then slowly come back to center. With our next inhale, we'll let the right arm rise up towards the heavens. We'll bend at the elbow, walking the fingertips down the spine. Left arm comes across to greet the elbow. Gently bringing those fingers a little closer towards the spine, using the belly to sit up tall here. So we're engaging through the core, lifting up through the chest, out the center of the head. One more long breath here. And on our next exhale, take a gentle arc to the left. Really breathing down that right side, opening through the lungs, through the side body, down into the hips. And with our next inhale, slowly come back to center and release. We'll reach those fingers up towards the heavens, lift the chest. Exhale, bringing the hands around the back of the body, interlacing the fingers, press the knuckles towards the earth, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And on the exhale, gently let the hands come back to rest on the thighs. And with your next inhale, left arm's going to rise to the sky. Reaching up through those fingers, bending at the elbow, walking the fingers down the spine. Right arm comes across to meet, and then gently walking the fingers a little further towards the sacrum. Again, using that belly to hold yourself up. And on the exhale, arc to the right, breathing down the left side of the body. Attempt to keep both sits bones pressed into the earth as we arc over so that we're not falling off of our seat. And slowly release, gently unwind, reach the fingers up towards the heavens, lift the chest. Exhale, hands come around the back of the body, interlace the knuckles, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open through the front of the body, and on the exhale, gently release. Go ahead and slide off of your cushion if you're seated up on one, and we're going to bring our feet to the corners of the mat, toes reaching up towards the sky. Getting right up on top of those sits bones, pressing hands down in front. We'll lift through the center of the body, reach the toes up, pull those kneecaps back towards you, strong in the legs, breathing into the inner thighs. On the exhale, gently soften through the legs, letting the heels drop back down onto the earth, and we'll slowly come forward. Maybe just one or two hand lengths forward, lifting through the spine, grounding the sacrum into the earth. And we'll breathe here, just bringing a gentle opening into the inner thighs. Again, with yoga practice, we want to think about opening slowly, maybe knocking at the door rather than just pushing the door wide open. So we're just breathing here, softening into those thighs, softening into the hips. And with our next inhale, gently back off. Again, use that core to sit up nice and tall. And we'll turn to the right, placing one hand on either side of that right leg. Long inhale here, lengthening through the spine. And on the exhale, gently fold over that right leg, allowing the gaze to drop down towards the knee, keeping those left toes up towards the sky. Letting the stretch come all the way down into the low back, feeling the sits bones press into the earth. We're opening across the lower left side of the body, releasing through the top of that left hip, and releasing those muscles along the back of the base of the spine. I'll take one more breath here. And allowing your next inhale to bring you back to center. And exhale, unwind to midline, sitting up nice and tall, engage the belly, and on your exhale, turn towards that left foot, one hand on either side of the left leg. On your exhale, begin to fold forward, letting the gaze drop to the knee, again, keeping the sits bones of that right side of the body grounded down into the earth. Right toes stay up towards the heavens. And breathing into the low back, the top of the hip. One more breath. And slowly find your way back to center and unwind to midline. We're going to grab behind the backs of the knees and bring them towards one another. We're going to stand the feet a little bit wider than hip width. Knees are standing, hands resting down behind the body. Long inhale here, and on the exhale, we'll drop the knees to the right. Inhale, center, and then drop the knees to the left. Allow this movement to be organic and at a pace that feels right for you. Following your breath, bringing that nice fluid movement into the hips. We'll do one more each side. And then slowly find center, walking those feet towards one another. We're going to keep the knees standing, wrap the arms around the knees, sit up nice and tall, and engage the belly. Pull the knees in towards you. We're going to play with balance here in a seated balance posture. I'm going to pick the toes up off of the earth, letting the body rest in that tripod where the sits bones and the sacrum, all three make contact onto the earth. We engage through the belly and sit up real tall here. Strong, get a little fire into the body. One more breath. And on the exhale, gently release. We'll come over onto hands and knees. Bringing the palms directly below shoulders, knees directly below the hips. From here, we'll find tabletop, that strong starting posture, pulling the belly up and away from the earth so we've got strength in the core. We'll press the top of the feet down into the earth and pick the knees up, letting those knees hover about an inch or so. Feel the engagement of the core. And from here, gently lower the knees back down onto the earth. We'll kick our right foot out behind us, attempting to get the leg parallel with the mat. And then from here, we'll bend that right knee, sole of the foot faces the sky. On our inhale, press up towards the heavens, strong engagement in the back of the body. Exhale, return to neutral. Inhale, press up. Exhale, find neutral. We'll do two more here. Inhale, press up. Engage the glutes and the muscles of the low back. Find neutral. One more here. Press up. And exhale, release. We'll let that knee drop back down, but hover over the earth so we're not landing the knee quite yet. On our next inhale, come in for a fire hydrant. We'll bring that right knee out to the side. Right foot is flexed, attempting to get that knee as high as comfortable for you. And then release back down. Inhale, come out to the side. Strong in those lateral rotators, glutes are active. And release down, maintaining that hover. Next inhale, lift up. And down, we'll do one more here. Follow your breath. And release down. Bringing those knees nice and wide, taking up the full width of the mat. Big toes come together and we'll sit back for a child's pose, forehead to the floor. Pressing the palms down into the mat, bracing through the armpits. And with our next inhale, slowly press back up, finding tabletop. Again, we'll make contact with that activation of the core, press the tops of the feet into the mat, we'll lift the knees up, feel that belly strong, and then gently let the knees land back down on the earth. Left foot kicks out behind. We'll bend that left knee so the sole of the foot faces the sky, and then press up on the inhale and release. Engage the muscles as we press up, really being mindful with how we're using the body. Hamstrings are strong, glutes are strong, and we'll do one more here. And then gently let that knee come back down, hover an inch or so over the mat, and we'll come to the side. So we lift, flex the foot, strong in those lateral rotators. Come out on the inhale. And we'll do two more here. And release back down. Finding all fours just for one breath. We'll curl the toes under, roll sits bones to the sky, and find our first downward dog. Continue rolling those sits bones up as the heels make their way towards the earth. Again, they don't have to touch, so we want to think about trying to have a nice straight back. Those knees can stay bent. We can pedal out the feet, shifting the weight from left to right. And as you feel ready, start to come into your full dog, feeling those hamstrings, feeling the calf muscles, pressing the heels towards the earth. Sits bones roll to the sky. We'll take one long breath here. And with our next inhale, we'll bring the right foot up in between the hands. And then go ahead and let that left knee drop down to the earth. Release those left toes. From here, we're going to walk the right foot to the outer edge of the mat so that both hands can place down directly in front of us. Palms are right below the shoulders. We want to keep that right knee hugging into the right triceps so that right leg stays active. From here, we'll curl the toes under and press through the back of that left leg. Breathing here, inner thighs come towards each other, strong in the left leg, long through the spine. Breathe one more long breath. And on the exhale, we've got options. You can drop the knee if that feels good for you, or come down onto the arms while that left leg is up. So we'll place the elbows where the palms were. Again, we want to think about keeping that right knee in. You're welcome to let that left knee drop. And we'll take one more long breath here. And with our next inhale, palms come back to where the elbows were as we slowly press up. We're going to walk the right foot across the body now to the left side of the mat. And then gently drop that right knee down onto the earth. Release the left leg, release the left toes. Finding pigeon, hands are on either side of that right knee. In your home practice, you're welcome to place a bolster or a block underneath that right hip, maybe a rolled up towel. Take one more long breath here. Chest is coming out towards the front of the mat and rising up, really protecting the low back. And on our exhale, we'll come all the way down. Maybe onto palms and elbows, maybe forehead wants to make its way to the earth. And we'll breathe here in pigeon. Long inhales and long exhales, releasing through the hips, the glutes, the low back. We'll take two more long breaths here. Then allow your next inhale to slowly press you back up. From here, we're going to bring our left heel towards our bottom. So maybe that just comes up a little bit, a couple of inches. If it's comfortable for you, you can reach back with the left hand, trying to find that left foot, and then pulling that left heel in ever so slightly towards your body. We're breathing through the quads here, really opening through the front of that left leg. We'll take one more long breath. And then slowly release the left foot back down onto the earth. We're going to curl those toes under. Press up and find plank. Step the right foot back. Again, palms are directly below the shoulders. Engage through the belly. Nice strong plank here. And on our exhale, we'll find downward dog. Shift the hips towards the sky and back into the heels. Attempting to keep the weight evenly distributed between hands and feet. We can have a tendency to let all the weight fall into the hands here in our downward dog. We'll take one more long breath. And with your next inhale, gaze comes up in between the hands and the left foot follows. Resting here, bringing the hands on either side of that left foot, and then gently releasing the right leg and release those right toes. We're going to bring the left foot to the outside of the mat so that both hands can land directly below shoulders. Keeping that left leg hugged in nice and tight. Again, we want to try to keep that left leg touched into the triceps. You're welcome to stay here or curl those back toes under and press through the back of that right knee. Inner thighs stay coming towards one another, nice and strong. Breathe here. And again, you can stay up on those right toes or drop that right knee as we bring the elbows down to where the palms were. Breathing into those hips. One more breath. And then placing the palms back to where the elbows were and pressing up. From here, we're going to walk the left foot across the right side of the mat. And once that foot makes its way over to that right edge, we'll slowly lower the knee down, releasing the right knee, releasing the right toes, resting here in pigeon. Again, you're welcome to place something underneath that left hip if that feels more right on your body. Chest rises out towards the front of the mat and lifts up ever so slightly. Really protecting the low back. We're breathing into the hips here. One more long breath. And on the exhale, come forward. Maybe just a little ways, letting those hands step out slightly. Maybe the elbows and forearms come down, or even the forehead onto the earth. And we'll breathe here. Pigeon's a great opportunity to really notice what's happening in the body. Oftentimes we're holding in places that we don't need to hold. Maybe that's in shoulders or jaw, or maybe that's deep in the hip. Allowing your breath to settle the body. And with our next inhale, slowly begin to press up. Coming back on top of those palms, pressing the hands into the earth. Again, we're going to bring this right foot in, and maybe it just comes in a little ways here. Or maybe if it feels right for you, we can turn around to grab that right foot with the right hand and slowly bring it in towards the body. Breathing through the quads, continue breathing into the hips, as well as open through the chest, releasing those right pecs. We'll take one more breath here. And on the exhale, gently unwind. We'll curl those right toes under and step the left foot back, finding plank. Nice strong posture here. Belly is in strong, legs are active, palms press into the earth. One more long breath. And from here, we'll find downward dog. Dropping the heels towards the earth as the sits bones rise to the sky. Long inhales, long exhales. And from here, as our gaze rises up in between the hands, we'll step the right foot forward. We're going to stay up on those left toes. Coming up for crescent, we've got options. You can press into that right foot and kind of crawl up, pressing onto the knee, and then letting the arms rise. Or you can come all the way up from the floor into a crescent lunge. Again, we're up strong on those left toes. Fingertips are reaching up towards the heavens. Hips are facing forward. Find the breath, settle in. On the exhale, hands come to heart center. And from here, we'll place a left elbow on that right knee. Press the palms towards one another and let the gaze come over that right elbow. On the exhale, hands come back to heart center, gaze out in front, sit up nice and tall, and then release the hands to the earth. And we'll step left foot forward to meet the right, finding a full forward fold. Rolling the sits bones up towards the sky, letting the head, neck, and shoulders dangle. Maybe shaking the head yes, maybe shaking the head no. And we'll breathe here. With our next inhale, placing the hands just below the knees, we'll find a flat back. Pull that belly strong. Gaze at the earth. And on the exhale, gently release down. From here, we're going to step the right foot back. Stay up on those right toes. Heel is lifted off of the earth. We're going to come for crescent. Again, lots of options here. Pay attention to your body and your practice. You can rise all the way up for crescent or climb up that left leg, coming onto the knee. and then rising up towards the sky. Back of the body strong, belly's engaged, reaching those fingers towards the heavens, attempting to keep that left knee directly above or somewhere behind the ankle, just not jut out over the front of that left ankle. And from here, hands come to heart center. Press those hands towards one another, lift up through the center of the body. On our exhale, we'll bring right elbow to left knee. Pressing the palms towards one another, gaze is over that left shoulder. Maybe over elbow, or maybe gaze is simply up the hands. And slowly release, coming back to center. Hands come back to the heart of the body, rising up through the center of the head. And exhale, hands come down to the earth. We'll step the right foot forward to meet left. Again, finding that full forward fold. Breathing into the low back, letting the spine dangle here. And with our next inhale, gently bend the knees and we're going to roll to standing. Come up one vertebrae at a time. Hold that belly in strong as you rise up. Feel the vertebrae stack one on top of the other. Unrolling all the way to standing. Coming right into mountain. Grounding those feet into the earth. Finding a neutral space for the pelvis. Knees are soft. We're not hyperextended or locked out here. I like to think about placing 10 little fishing weights on the tips of all of my fingers, giving just a little bit more of a release through the shoulders. Rising up through the center of the head, chin is parallel with the earth. Take one more long, deep breath here. And on our inhale, arms rise to the sky. We're going to shift our weight onto the left foot. Right foot comes out in front. We're going to bend the knee. We've got a hip, knee, and ankle all at 90 degrees. So we're reaching through the fingers. The belly is in nice and strong. Knees directly out from the hip. One more long breath here. And on our exhale, we fold forward, kick the right foot out behind. Find warrior three. Toes stay facing down at the earth. Belly's in strong. Reaching through the fingers. One more breath. And on our inhale, nice and graceful, coming all the way back through, bending that right knee, starting with that position of ankle, knee, and hip at 90. One more breath. And on the exhale, go ahead and land the foot back on the earth, hands by our side. We'll take some big shoulder rolls here. Maybe let those knees get involved. Change directions. We'll shift our weight onto the right foot and roll out that left ankle. One direction and then the other. And then shift our weight to the left foot and roll out the right ankle. One direction and then the other. And coming back to center. We'll shift the weight onto that right foot. Arms rise up, left knee comes out in front. Ankle, knee, and hip all at 90. Reaching through the fingers, grounding down through that standing leg. On our exhale, we come forward, kick the foot out behind, find warrior three, reach through the fingers, toes stay facing the earth. And on our inhale, we'll come back through, bending the knee, standing up tall. And exhale, return the foot back to the earth, feet just a little wider than hips. We'll do some big hip rolls here. Nice big circles. In one direction and then the other. And slowly come back to center. Bringing those feet hip width apart. Inhale, arms rise to the sky. Palms come together and we fold forward. Letting the hands rest on the earth. We can step, walk, or jump back for plank. Wherever you are in your practice, find the transition that feels right for you, nice and strong. Landing here in plank, we'll take 2 more breaths. And from here, gently lower to the earth. We can go knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Elbows stay in, lower down nice and slow. Once you make your way onto the earth, we'll place our right cheek down and release the toes. From here, bringing our hands back to the sides of the body, we're going to bring those feet in, grabbing onto the outside of the feet. With our next inhale, we're going to rise up, gaze out in front as we push our feet into the hands. So inhale, we come up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Press those feet into the hands. Lift through the chest. Peel the belly up and away from the earth. And on our exhale, gently lower down and place the left cheek down on your mat. We'll take 1 long breath here. And with our next inhale, hands come down by the sides of the body. Bring the heels in. Grab onto the outside of the feet. And on your inhale, come up. Press the feet into the hands. Pull the belly away from the earth. Gaze out in front. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Glutes are strong and active. And on our exhale, gently release. Hands come down by the shoulders and we press back for child's pose. Forehead to the floor, hips come back into the heels. Breathe here. One more long breath. And then slowly make your way down onto the earth. And we'll roll over onto our back. From here, we'll bring knees into chest. And gently rocking side to side. Situate the body, laying on its back. Take 1 more breath here. And then bring the feet to the earth, keeping the heels nice and close in towards our bottom. Hands rest down by our side. With our next inhale, we want to think about through this series having like a soccer ball between the knees that we're holding. So the legs stay active through these postures. Hands are down by our sides, and with our next inhale, we'll press the small of the back into the earth. Think about bringing pubic bone and bottoms of the ribs towards one another, keeping the back flat down on the earth. The tailbone is now pointing to that space between the knees. And from here, we'll lift the pelvis towards the sky. So small of the back presses in first, engage through the belly, and then lift the pelvis. Finding a gentle bridge, attempting to get the knees in line with the shoulders. And slowly release down 1 vertebrae at a time. Knees come into chest. Breathe here. And then slowly let the feet land back down onto the earth. Again, think about the ball between the knees. Tuck that tailbone so that it's pointing to the space between the knees. Small of the back's pressing into the earth. Belly is strong and engaged here. Press the hands down into your mat and lift the pelvis towards the sky. Again, see if we can draw a straight line from the knees to the shoulders. Engage in the glutes. Inner thighs are strong. 1 more breath here. And we'll exhale, lower down nice and slow, 1 vertebrae at a time. Knees come into chest. And gently rock side to side. From here, let the feet come back down onto the earth. And we're going to bring our feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, letting the feet come to the outer edges of the mat. From here, we're going to drop both knees down to the right. Hands can rest on belly. We want to try to keep both of the shoulders flat down on the earth. And we'll breathe here. Releasing the quads and psoas. letting the low belly fill with breath. And with that next inhale, standing the knees, keeping those feet nice and wide. And then we'll drop the knees to the left side of the mat. Again, we're keeping the shoulders resting on the earth. Releasing through the quads, psoas, and belly. Maybe releasing any tension that's still hanging out in the low back. And with that next inhale, slowly make your way back to center. From here, we're going to walk the feet together. Bottoms of the feet come towards one another as the knees drop to the left and right. We're going to interlace the last 3 fingers of our hand and press the pointer fingers towards one another. From here, our pointer fingers will press down towards the toes. From here, we come back into that same position where the small of the back's pressing into the earth, pubic bone and lower ribs are coming towards each other. And as we press those fingers towards the toes, we lift the chest ever so slightly. Strong engagement in the core here. Pointing the fingers towards the bottom of the mat, engage through the belly, tuck the chin. And on the exhale, slowly lower down. Deep belly breath here. Release those knees. Let the belly rise towards the sky. Head is resting on the earth. And we'll bring our gaze to the right. Looking over that right shoulder. Come back to center. Bring the gaze to the left. And come back to center. One more time here. Interlace the fingers. Pointers are pressing towards one another. Pointing those fingers towards the bottom of the mat. Press the small of the back into the earth first. So if the small of the back comes off of the floor, then just settle out of the posture. So really protecting the low back here. Strong in the core. Press the fingers towards the bottom of the mat. Tuck the chin. Engage that belly. One more breath here. And then slowly lower down. Resting the knees, letting the head land on the earth, hands by our sides. Deep belly breath. And letting the gaze look over that right shoulder. Come back through center and gaze over the left shoulder. And back to center. You can use the hands to help bring the knees towards one another and then bring those knees in towards the chest. A gentle rock from side to side. And with our next inhale, we're going to press the knees into the hands, tuck the chin and bring the forehead towards the knees. So on the inhale, we roll up, creating a little ball with the body, tucking the chin. Again, forehead's reaching towards those knees. Knees are pressing into the hands. Pull the belly in strong. Feel the space between the shoulder blades. And from here, gently release back down onto the mat. Let the feet land on the earth. And then straighten the legs all the way out. Arms come up overhead for a full body stretch from fingertips to toes. And on the exhale, let the body rest onto the earth. Hands come down by our sides. Palms are open to the space in the room. And slowly as we make our way into Shavasana, we allow the body to find stillness so the mind can follow. Taking this next breath to notice if anything in the body still needs to move or change. And as we allow the body to rest here, bring the inhale into the low belly. Long inhale, filling the low belly with breath. And then long exhale, letting the belly come back in towards the spine as the lungs empty. And as we prepare to be focused and centered today as we move through the workshop, we'll begin with a balancing pranayama. With a long inhale, we'll count to 4. and then a long exhale of a count of 4. So you can modify this count for what feels right for you. Maybe it's an inhale of 5 and an exhale of 5. And finding a long, even count for the inhale and the exhale. We're balancing our breath and creating focus, creating a balanced and centered place to move from. Taking these next few moments, finding that balanced and rhythmic breath. Gently allowing the belly to rise and fall. Letting that breath be centered and focused. When the mind wanders away, you can gently invite it back into the breath, focusing on the count. Again, a count of 4 or 5, keeping the inhale and the exhale balanced. We'll spend the next few moments here allowing the gaze to be soft behind the eyes. Allow the jaw to be soft, maybe with the tongue pressed behind the front 2 teeth. Allowing the backs of the shoulders to be soft on the earth. Allowing the feet to be floating in space, held by the heels. And welcoming that steady inhale and steady exhale. Again, if you notice that the mind has wandered away, just gently bring your awareness back into your breath, focusing on that steady count, counting the inhale, counting the exhale. And we'll allow that next inhale to bring movement into the body, gently rolling ankles and feet, fingers and wrists. And allow yourself this next moment to slowly roll onto one side, using the breath to help you roll, using the breath to help you settle. And then slowly begin pressing to a comfortable seated position, using that inhale to press up, and again using the exhale to settle. And finding yourself in a comfortable seat, maybe allowing that warmth of gratitude to again come forward through belly, through chest, all the way up into the mind's eye. And with our inhale, we'll let the arms rise to the sky. Long, deep breath here, breathing in the abundance of our gratitude. Palms come to touch. On the exhale, hands drop down to heart center. And dedicating our practice to our own self-care, our self-love, as well as the care and love of all sentient beings. I want to thank you all so much for being here. Namaste.